Good afternoon, everybody. We'll get started right at 2 p.m. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. It is now 2 p.m., so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to our March All Stakeholder Meeting for Summer EBT program, now known as Sunbucks, which we'll discuss a little bit more later in the presentation. My name is Adriana Lechuga, and I am one of the analysts assisting with the Sunbucks implementation. Before we get started, we have a few housekeeping slides we'll go over. Next slide, please. To hear the Spanish interpretation, if you are on a laptop or desktop, after we are done with this announcement, you will see a globe at the bottom right of your screen. Please click on the globe icon that says Interpretation and select Spanish. If you are on an iPad or a similar device, locate the three-dot menu on the upper right and select Language Interpretation. Then select your language. For those of you who are speaking today, please remember to be loud and clear and speak at a moderate pace, as the interpreter will be interpreting simultaneously into other language. And now, let's please welcome Giovanna, who will provide this slide's information in Spanish. Next slide.
Buenas tardes. Para facilitar el acceso a servicios de idioma, esta reunión contará con interpretación simultánea en español. Si está usando una computadora portátil o de escritorio, una vez que hayamos terminado con este anuncio, verá un globo terráqueo en la parte de abajo derecha de su pantalla. Por favor, seleccione el icono del globo terráqueo que dice Interpretación.
Hi, Giovanna, are you there? I think we might have lost our interpreter. One second while we get her back. I don't think we're able to get her back, so I can finish the rest of that. Por favor, seleccione el icono del globo terráqueo que dice Interpretación y seleccione Spanish, Español. Si está usando un iPad o un dispositivo similar, ubique el menú de 3 puntos en la parte de arriba hacia la derecha y seleccione Language Interpretation, Interpretación de idiomas. Luego seleccione Spanish o Español. Cuando sea su turno para hablar, por favor recuerde hablar claro y en alta voz y a un ritmo moderado, ya que el intérprete interpretará simultáneamente en el otro idioma. Next slide page. So, as you may have noted, this is a Zoom webinar. This webinar will be in listen-only mode. The meeting invitation also provides the option to connect to audio via phone or computer, depending on your preference. This webinar will be recorded. If you would like to request a copy of this recording, please send a request to the email listed on the slide, which is sunbooks@dss.ca.gov. We'll be happy to send you a link as soon as it becomes available. Next slide. As I mentioned, the webinar is in listen-only mode, but we are providing a way for questions to be asked. The chat box is currently disabled, but if you have any questions, please ask them by selecting the Q&A button located at the bottom of your screen. You are welcome to submit a question at any point during the webinar, and they will be collected and answered at the end of the webinar during our Q&A period. Next slide. In today's meeting, we will revisit some of the information we shared in our February meeting. It is important that we are all on the same page. We'll cover an overview of Sunbooks. We'll provide you with some estimates, some eligibility information for the program, how benefits will be issued, and our customer service plan. We will also discuss our outreach flyer and branding changes. And as always, we'll provide some time for the questions and answers and provide our next step. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Next slide, please. So here's some background. Between 2011 and 2014, FNS authorized a Summer EBT demonstration project for select states and territories to test the impact of providing summer nutrition benefits through an EBT card to low-income families with school-aged children. The results found this demonstration project to significantly reduce child hunger and improve diet quality, prompting Congress to authorize a creation of a new permanent program focused on providing food benefits to low-income families with school-aged children over the summer months beginning in 2024. Under the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023, passed in December of 2022, the Summer EBT program was created to provide food benefits to low-income families with school-aged children over the summer months when they may not have access to the meals normally provided through their schools during the instructional school year, such as breakfast, lunch, and snacks. The Summer EBT program is a federally funded program that states and territories can choose to opt into to operate. In July of 2023, California passed Assembly Bill AB 120, establishing the California Department of Social Services, also known as CDSS, as the leading agency in partnership with the California Department of Education, also known as CDE, to maximize participation in the program for summer 2024. For summer 2024, California is one of the 48 states or territories that submitted an intent to participate in the program to FNS. Sunbooks will provide $40 per month for a total of $120 in summertime food benefits to children in households who qualify for free or reduced price meals or are enrolled in CalFresh, CalWorks, or Medi-Cal. California plans to implement a phased-in approach in summer 2024, which will automatically enroll 5 million students, bringing about $600 million in federally funded food benefits to California. This program can be used in conjunction with other FNS nutrition assistance programs, meaning children can participate in other nutrition programs while receiving Sunbooks. Other programs include summer meals like SNAP and WIC, among others. Following the release of the Consolidated Appropriations Act, FNS also released partial guidance between July and November 2023 before officially publishing the interim final rule on December 29, 2023. And this outlined the program requirements. One thing we want to emphasize is Sunbucks is a permanent program. While much of today's presentation focuses on how we are addressing summer 2024, it is important to note that this is a permanent program and that how we plan to operate in summer 2025 will likely change. Next slide, please. So the interim final rule outlines specific requirements to establish eligibility, issue out benefits, and other operational requirements. It is important to keep in mind that this is a brand new permanent program and it will take time to fully establish the resources required to implement the program in a way that it's outlined in the interim final rule. With that being said, FNS recognizes that certain flexibilities will be necessary to successfully implement the program in such a short time frame for 2024. This slide outlines some of the important regulations and requirements established within the interim final rule and subsequently the Code of Federal Regulations. As you can see, for at least 2024, we are requesting flexibilities in various areas as we work to acquire the necessary resources and establish the program and contracts. California submitted their plan of operations and management to FNS on February 15th. This plan outlines how California plans to administer the program for summer 24 and includes much of the information we will cover today. We currently have received feedback on our plan of operations and management from FNS, and thus far, we seem to be looking good with the flexibilities we requested. Next slide. Before we get into Sunbucks specifics, we want to define terminology that will be important to know to understand the upcoming slides. You will hear the term NSLP and SBP used when discussing schools and eligible children. One of the requirements for Sunbucks eligibility is that a child attend a school that participates in the National School Lunch Program, which is also known as NSLP, or the School Breakfast Program, also known as SBP. The the NSLP and SBP are programs available to qualifying children qualifying schools that serve meals to students. It is overseen by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and administered by the California Department of Education. These programs are federal and state reimbursement programs for healthy, quality meals served and that meet federal requirements. Schools that operate NSLP and SBP are required to offer free or reduced price meals to eligible children. So when we refer to NSLP or SBP participating schools, we are referring to those schools that have been approved by the California Department of Education to operate NSLP and or SBP programs at their school sites. Another term we may refer to throughout this presentation is the summer operational period and instructional school year. For California, the summer operational period is June 1st through August 31st. This may differ in other states, as the summer operational period is defined based on the state's average school calendar. The Department of Education reviewed available school calendars and found that over 90% of California schools are on summer break between June 1st and August 31st. The instructional school year is the other months when children are normally attending class. For 2024, when we refer to our previous instructional school year, we are referring to the time period of August 1st, 2023 to May 31st, 2024. Lastly, as you'll hear shortly, there are two main ways that children can be eligible, and the age parameters for eligibility differ for both. In California, the compulsory age to attend school for children is ages 6 through 18. So when we say school aged, we're referring to children between the ages of 6 and 18. I will now pass it over to Fong Lee to go over the Sunbucks student population estimates. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Adriana. Hello, my name is Fong Lee. I'm a CalFresh policy analyst. So let's now transition our focus on the estimates for Sunbucks. Next slide, please. This slide will provide a few main key points we think are important to identify. The first is our estimate of children we believe will be eligible to Sunbucks for 2024. CDSS and CDE gather estimates based on 2023 data that just under 5.2 million children will be eligible, though the number could increase depending on the amount of households who apply and are approved. Note that this estimate is slightly higher than what we shared with you in February. For reference, it was 5,113,224. The following two bullet points are the general eligibility requirements. There are two ways that children may be eligible. All children that are school age 6 to 18 years old and received CalFresh, CalWORKS, or Medi-Cal at or under 185% of the federal poverty level for at least 1 month during the previous instructional school year will be eligible to Sunbucks for 2024. All children that are, I will reiterate, for 2024, our instructional school year is August 1st through May 31st, 2024. So any child who received CalFresh, CalWORKS, and Medi-Cal for at least one of those months will be eligible to receive Sunbucks this summer. Now for the second form of eligibility, all children between the ages of 0 through 22 may be eligible if they are attending a school that participates in the National School Lunch Program, or NSLP, or the School Breakfast Program, or S-EBT, and they are certified for free or reduced price meals. I'll say it in a different way just to make sure it's clear. Any and all children who are between the ages of 0 through 22 who go to a school that operates the NSLP or the S-EBT and are approved for free or reduced price meals by the school are eligible for Sunbucks. The data for these children I just identified will be collected through CalSOLS, specifically those children receiving CalFresh, CalWORKS, and Medi-Cal, and through the California Longitudinal Pupil Achievement Data System used by schools and the Department of Education, known as CalPADS. Data from CalSOLS and CalPADS will support streamlined certification that allows for automatic issuances. Thus, eligibility for the majority of the Sunbucks benefits will be determined automatically. Now, as a quick note, there are some exceptions. Children attending certain schools who are not automatically eligible to Sunbucks benefits. Sorry, I just had, will have the option to apply using an alternative income form. More on that shortly. Next slide, please. Here we break down where the data is coming from. Of the more than 5 million children we anticipate will be eligible, 77% of our data will be coming from CalSOLS, whereas 23% will be coming from CDE and CalPADS. This is just accounting for the children that we can already anticipate are eligible. There is still potential that we can see an increase in CDE data based on those children who attend a community eligibility provision, or CEP, or provisional school and have yet to complete an alternative income form. CEP or provision schools are schools who are approved as a CEP school by the Department of Education. CEP is an alternative meal counting and collection procedure for schools in high poverty areas. The majority of the data will come from SOLS data, as I mentioned earlier, specifically children receiving CalFresh, CalWORKS, and Medi-Cal. So why is this important? We will have to make sure address information is correct for these cases. Otherwise, we could see a lot of issuances to incorrect addresses. Basically, we'll need address updates by April 1st. You'll see shortly when we discuss our outreach efforts how we can help meet this deadline. Next slide, please. This slide provides a visual illustration of the ways in which children are eligible for Sunbucks benefits. While we are talking about the ABCs, we are going to start with groups B and C in teal colors on the right, as these are our largest populations, all of which are automatically enrolled due to streamlined certification. In Group B, we have children ages 6 to 18 who will receive benefits from CalFresh, CalWorks, or Medi-Cal. And we have Group C with children ages 0 to 22 who attend a NSLP or SBP participating school who are already certified or categorically eligible. Children in Group C can be approved for free or reduced price meals in a few ways. They submit a NSLP, SBP application to their school and are approved. The second, they are identified by the school as categorically eligible, meaning they are considered to be a child in foster care, experiencing homelessness, a runaway, a part of a migrant household, or attending Head Start. Lastly, they are directly certified for FRPM, meaning the school has identified they receive public assistance program and automatically certify them as eligible to free or reduced price meals. Children in these tier groups B and C will be streamlined certified, meaning they are automatically eligible without the household needing to do anything on their part. No action is required. Now, a much smaller group of children is Group A, who are not streamlined certified. Those in the banana color on the left. Action is required. Alternative income forms will be used to determine eligibility for Sunbucks. These are children between the ages of 0 to 22 who attend a CEP or Provision 1, 2, or 3 school. A household can confirm that their child attends a CEP or Provision school by asking their school administrators. Children who do not meet these criteria are not eligible for Sunbucks. And now we will look more closely at how children in this Group A can get Sunbucks. Next slide, please. To be clear, there is no application form for summer 2024. However, children who attend a CEP or Provision 1, 2, or 3 and are not categorically eligible or already receiving public assistance will have to take action by completing an alternative income form. For summer 2024, for those not streamlined certified, an alternative income form will be used to determine eligibility. Alternative income forms are used by CEP or provision schools to gather information about a household, such as names of all household members and income. How can a child apply? If the child attends a CEP or provision school, they can request an alternative income form from their school administrator. The household will fill out the form and submit it back to the school. The school will then determine if the household is eligible or not. If the school children are eligible, the school will add the eligibility to CalPAD system discussed earlier. It will then be collected by the Department of Education for benefit issuance. Note that any child who submits an alternative income form and does not attend a CEP or provision school will not be eligible. I will now hand it over to Andrea Chavez to discuss the next section.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Andrea Chavez, and I'm one of the managers here helping with the Sunbucks implementation. We're going to transition our focus to the issuance plan and customer service. Next slide, please. Okay. So let's discuss how households can expect to receive their benefits. Benefits will be issued at the beginning of the summer operational period. Again, that is June 1 through August 31. The Code of Federal Regulations requires that benefits be issued out to households 7 to 14 days before the beginning of the summer operational period. However, due to the tight time frame and vendor constraints, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has provided some flexibility on issuance timeframes for 2024. We do not have specific dates when benefits will be issued yet, and we are still working to confirm issuance dates with our EBT vendor. These details will be provided in upcoming meetings once we have finalized and received the confirmation of those dates. However, we are aware of one of our key limitation, and that's that the vendor can only issue 2 million cards per month. So that means we'll be issuing cards in June, July, and August, and possibly beyond for those who are determined to be eligible outside of the instructional school year. So one card will be issued per eligible child for the entirety of the summer benefits. That's $120. This means that if one household has 3 children who are eligible for Sunbucks, they will receive 3 separate cards in the mail. We should also note here that the benefits do expire. The Code of Federal Regulations requires that benefits be expunged within 122 days of benefits being loaded onto the card. So once cards are issued, they will be mailed in alphabetical order by last name, beginning with the letter A. Now, the mailing address on the cards will depend on the eligibility method based on the hierarchy you see at the bottom right of the slide. Addresses in CalFresh will serve as the foundation, followed by CalWorks, Medi-Cal, and finally the address on file at the child's school. So for example, if a child receives CalFresh on their mom's case, but Medi-Cal on their father's case, the mailing address in the CalFresh case will take priority, and that is where their Sunbucks card will be mailed. Similarly, if a child's identified by the Department of Education through a school match, but they also receive CalWorks, the mailing address on the CalWorks case will take priority over the mailing address in the school system if they are different. So it will be important to socialize the importance to recipients of CalFresh, CalWorks, and Medi-Cal of keeping an updated address on their case to make sure they receive their Sunbucks benefits. And if possible, make any updates to their mailing address by April 1st. And more on that shortly. Next slide, please. Okay, our 2024 customer service. Customer service is a huge piece in ensuring a successful rollout of Sunbucks. CDSS is currently working to establish a call center similar to what was available for pandemic EBT. The call center will be able to help households with card replacement, personal identification number setup, so also known as the PIN, as the EBT call center currently does, but it will also be accepting opt-out requests, eligibility related questions, escalations, and provide information for how to request a fair hearing. So if there is a household who is streamlined certified, meaning automatically eligible without needing to do anything on their part, but does want to receive Sunbucks benefits, they will be instructed to call the call center and they will be placed on an opt-out list. For Summer EBT, Sunbucks, if households believe they should be eligible but have been provided with an eligibility determination that does not reflect that, they will be able to request an escalation review. And that's where all their documentation and circumstances will be reviewed, and the household will have an opportunity to engage with the household or to engage with the Sunbucks agency to go over the eligibility determination. So for 2024, households that wish to submit an escalation will be referred to the call center, and that's where a request will be submitted on their behalf. The Sunbucks website, it will also be a resource where participants and stakeholders can access additional information about the Sunbucks program. Now I will turn it over to Charisse, and she'll discuss our outreach plans for 2024.
Thank you, Andrea. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to talk a little bit about 2024 outreach. So with Sunbucks program being a brand new program, we are exploring various methods of outreach and education, which includes stakeholder meetings such as this one, as well as meeting with our advocate partners. We are developing flyers and media campaigns, designing and launching a designated Sunbucks webpage. We also plan to utilize automated text, email, and phone calls to send communication to households, and also looking to develop a Sunbucks newsletter. The specifics surrounding these outreach efforts, including the call center number, will be provided once we finalize the call center contract. One thing to remember is that since most children will be automatically enrolled via streamlined certification, our outreach efforts are primarily focused on ensuring we have correct mailing addresses, and then socializing the message that Sunbucks is coming. For children that need to submit an alternate income form, which was discussed earlier, we are coordinating with CDE to ensure LEAs have the necessary tools to help spread the word as well. Next slide, please. So address updates. So our current most pressing outreach focus for the month of March is ensuring that we have correct mailing addresses. Super important that we have the correct mailing addresses for students. Because the majority of kids will be streamlined certified, it is imperative that we have accurate mailing addresses on file so that the Sunbucks cards go to the right place. April 1st is the deadline for these changes, and this is simply because we will start pulling the data for students who receive free and reduced price lunch and those who are enrolled in CalFresh, CalWorks, and Medi-Cal. To support this messaging, we developed the flyer that you see on the screen, and some of you, or hopefully most of you, actually received it in your email box this morning. But we developed it with input from our advocate partners. And if you haven't received it, please let us know, and we'll make sure to get it out to you as soon as possible. Please also note the flyer is only available in English and Spanish. We do plan to translate future outreach messaging in all 19 threshold languages. We were just unable to do so with the tight time frame that we had in developing this particular flyer. Next slide, please. Now to talk a little bit about branding and logo. So as you all may have noticed, we have a new brand. And as some of you recall in our February meeting, we considered some alternatives to Summer EBT. We recognize that the name Summer EBT could have negative connotations and has the potential to be confused or associated with pandemic EBT. We want households to know that this new program is different from what California has seen in the past. So our name, branding, and logo are important things to consider. In our last meeting, we conducted a poll to get your feedback on the potential brand name, and we would like to thank you for providing your feedback and thoughtful ideas. While many of us like the staying with the branding of Summer EBT or adopting Cal Sunbucks, the reality is that our timelines are very short for implementation to create our own brand and logo. Also, we gained insights from prior programs about the importance of a simple brand, one that is not specifically associated with social services or welfare departments, and the perhaps negative connotations that come along with them. So with input from our partners at CDE and the ease of the Sunbucks logo and branding guidelines from our federal partners, we created a California version of the Sunbucks logo, which is what you see on the screen. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, FNS, has coined the term Sunbucks as the official name of the Summer EBT program. And in true California style, we put our own spin on the official name by adding California as a tagline. In addition, the branding will align with other summer child nutrition programs, such as congregate and non-congregate meals. Next slide, please. Next, I just want to talk a little bit about our next steps for summer 2024. As you can imagine, a lot of work is going into implementation for this summer, which seems like tomorrow. So to highlight what we're currently working on, we received comments from FNS on our plan of operations and management, which we refer to as the POM. And we are now working on those revisions to resubmit to FNS. Our goal is to complete those revisions within the next week and to send to our internal partners for review. And we want to get it back to FNS as quickly as possible, as that does impact implementation as well. Meanwhile, we are also finalizing the necessary contracts for our Sunbucks program, which our biggest one is our helpline, which I mentioned earlier. And we're also working with our EBT vendor to make sure that benefits are issued on time. And then we're also developing a website which will be dedicated to Sunbucks as well. We are also working on developing outreach materials, which include solidifying language for the automated text, emails, and phone calls, which I talked about earlier. And most importantly, we have shared with you the one-page flyer, and we hope to request develop some additional outreach materials to share with you all as well. Next slide, please. All right, so now we've gotten to the point where we want to make sure we hear from you, want to see what questions you have. I believe some folks have already started adding questions to the Q&A. And so you can continue to use the Q&A feature, which is located at the bottom of your screen, and we will respond to those questions verbally and in writing. Okay, see, I see some questions are coming in and some of them have been answered. Let's see. See, there was a question just around whether August is considered part of the summer period and the instructional year, and that is correct. There is an overlap. Okay. The question, are children younger than 6 but enrolled in Head Start eligible for EBT? For summer EBT, do they need to be enrolled in Head Start program that provides free school breakfast and lunch? And the response was provided in the chat that yes, children are eligible if they attend a school that operates NSLP or S-EBT at their school and are certified for free and reduced price meals. Question about children who are homeschooled and how would they apply. So homeschooled students who receive CalWORKs, CalFresh, or Medi-Cal are eligible for Sunbucks. Then let's see, another question. Since California makes meals free to all kids in public school, how do families know if they're eligible for FRPM? Parents can inquire about FRPM eligibility at their school of attendance. There was another question. When can families who do not automatically qualify request applications from school? So families can submit a NSLP or SBP application on or alternative income form. They can do that now. Our children age 0 to 5 enrolled in Head Start eligible. I was confused since it's not exactly a school. It's a child development program. And yes, children who attend Head Start at an NSLP participating school are eligible for Sunbucks. The email address to contact for the slides be repeated at the end. Yes, and we will make sure you all have our general email box. Okay, then there was a request for an example of an eligible child younger than school age. And would this be a public preschool attendee? And we did provide a response to that, and that yes, it could be a public preschool attendee who attends a school that operates NSLP or SPB and the school SBP, and the child is certified for free or reduced price meals. Great question around, will S-EBT be mailed via separate card or deposited on existing cards? So for 2024, cards will be issued per child separately on a separate card. Can undocumented folks qualify for Sunbucks? Absolutely. Sunbucks does not have a citizenship eligibility requirement. Do families typically know if their school is a CEP or provisional school? The reality is many families may not know if their school is classified as a provisional school. Parents or caretakers, we encourage them to inquire with their child's school for clarification and to receive the correct document that needs to be completed to be eligible for Summer EBT. And so that may be the meal app or an alternative income form. Should families update their address with the county or with their school or both? So we highly recommend that households update their address with both entities where possible. The card look like PBT or the regular CalFresh card or something different? Will we have an opportunity to see what the card looks like? The card will look like the regular CalFresh. Go to an Advantage card, and Paige, there is an image of the card on slide 16, I believe. Are you able to pull that slide up? In the top right-hand corner of this slide, you'll see the picture of what the card will look like. So it will look similar to PBT, except it will say Sunbucks. with our Golden Advantage image. And then another question, how will our unhoused populations receive these cards if they don't have a mailing address? So schools and county human service agencies will receive S-EBT cards on behalf of eligible families experiencing homelessness. All right. Says in our PEBT experience, it was hard to get schools to talk to their families about the program without guidance or instruction from their district office. Are you all working with the school districts to get the word out, alternative income forms filled out, etc.? So Sunbucks is a permanent program administered in partnership with the California Department of Education, which we've referred to throughout this meeting as CDE. CDE is taking the lead to disseminate information to LEAs, to the locals, in regards to program requirements, timelines, required forms. So CDE is working really closely with LEAs to help ensure outreach and any other requirements as well. Let's see, another question about the cards. How similar will the cards look to the regular EBT cards? Okay. My fear is that families my fear is families confusing which and having issues utilizing the full benefits or disposing the wrong cards when it is empty. So that's a good point. The cards, as we said before, the cards will look like the current Advantage card with printed wording of Sunbucks across the top. Additionally, the card will include the child's name. Next one, our district has both meal apps and alternative income forms to our parents. We are not a CP or Provision 123 district. Will we have to ask our parents that submitted alt income forms to submit a meal app? So in this case, we just ask that you please instruct households to contact their local schools to best determine which form is required for them. Will there be any outreach contracts offered like there were for PEBT? So administratively for Sunbucks is much different from PEBT. While we are working hard to implement the program for summer 2024, we are also working to plan operations for 2025. Our team will take this question back for future iterations of the program. Their question, will counties be asked again to help distribute Sunbucks cards that are mailed to county offices? And yes, the CalSAW's address will be used for Sunbucks card mailings. If a family does not receive the Sunbucks card automatically, who can they contact? If the family does not receive a card and should have through receipt of CalFresh, CalWorks, Medi-Cal, or FRPM, they can contact the customer service call center. And again, that number will be provided once the contract has been executed. Do you have an ETA on when text, email, and phone call messages will go out? The outreach plan that addresses text and email, phone calls is still under development. So again, as y'all can imagine, there's a lot of a lot of activity going on to get this implemented. And so we are still in the development phase of our outreach and the timing of when that will go out, because the one thing we do realize is that once we send out the texts and emails and phone calls, that is going to increase calls that come into our call center. So call center has to be set up before we can logistically send out texts, verbal texts, emails, and phone calls. Okay, can you please remind us when is the last date that families can turn in an FRPM app or an alternate income form to get some bucks? So the summer 2024 application period ends August 31st. Okay, will we be sharing the script for these outreach messages? And yes, outreach messages will be shared during an upcoming Sunbucks stakeholder webinar. And then a great question came in just around the cards again, and just wondering if folks will be getting a new EBT card yearly. So households will receive a new card for summer 2024, and we are determining issuance methods for 2025 and beyond. So more to come on that. Okay, expungement question. What happens if they don't use the funds within the 122 days? So funds that are not used within 122 days from the date that benefits were loaded to their card, those funds will be expunged. Essentially, they will expire and will not be reissued. Okay, then let's see. Want to clarify the timeline. The first deadline for families is to update addresses by April 1st. That is correct. The first round of cards will be issued in June. Is there a deadline for eligibility? Determine students to submit alternative income forms to receive the total of $120. Is this the same as April 1st? So your timeline is correct. The summer 2024 application deadline is August 31st. Children determined eligible throughout the school year or summer application period are eligible to the entire 120 benefit allotment. So no benefits will be, prorated in any kind of way. If a person applies, August 2nd, they are still going to get the $120 benefit. And I do want to just add a little bit of a caveat here, just in regards to the first round of cards and when they will be issued. We are tentatively scheduled for them to be released in June, but there's going to need to be some flexibility there because there's a lot of different things at play here. But we are hoping for June. So more information to come once we are able to provide a more exact time frame. So you mentioned a newsletter for Sunbucks earlier. How do we get signed up for it? So if you are not already on our distribution list, you can email us at sunbucks@dss.ca.gov. All right, and then how can counties find out what address is listed for CalSAWS? So counties can use the CalSAWS system and will have access to view the address that's listed for any particular student. Okay, and then great question around replacement benefits for electronic theft. And just to clarify, replacements due to theft are not allowed for summer EBT. Say, will counties be able to issue cards via mail from EBT Edge? So replacements will be handled through our customer service call center. Then a question around when do you expect the call center to be set up? We're still working on our go live date for the call center. Some more to come on that. And then another replacement benefit question for future years of the program, will replacement benefits be considered? So I will say we do not know the answer to this question at this time. This change will be led by future USDA guidance. However, we are hopeful that our EBT theft mitigation strategies, such as the mobile EBT Edge application and EBT modernization efforts, such as Chip Tap, will help address the concerns for California. Then just a clarifying question that it will be a lump sum received, not $40 issued every month, and that is correct. Families will be issued a one-time payment of $120. Parent literacy rates were a challenge with PEBT. Will audio files with Sunbucks messaging be available to ensure better access? So we are working on a plan to message through automated messaging via phone calls, texts, and emails. So please remind us, are NSLP schools those that have been identified as eligible for free and reduced price meals for all students? If so, are these children automatically enrolled and receive a Sunbucks card, or do they still need to apply? So children attending an NSLP SBP school and who have been determined income eligible will be automatically eligible and will receive a Sunbucks card. Just doing a time check. I see we only have a few minutes left, so I will cover a few more questions. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one. Just around a 19-year-old student on CalFresh, and asking if they will not be eligible for Sunbucks unless they are enrolled in an NSLP SBP participating school. And the response to that is a 19-year-old on CalFresh will be eligible to Sunbucks if they were 18 years old at any time during the school operational period. I just want to reiterate that once cards are issued, they will be issued in alphabetical order based on last name. And then in regards to Chip Tap, for 2024, we will only have the magnetic strip cards, and hopefully in the future we will be rolling into the Chip Tap technology for Summer EBT. And let's see, will Summer EBT cards be able to be added to EBT Edge? If so, do they have access to features like being frozen? So families will have access to the EBT Edge website and the mobile application and all of their features. Then the last question, will the S-EBT cards have Chip Tap, and will clients be able to freeze their S-EBT cards through EBT Edge? And I know I kind of answered that one. So again, 2024, no chip tap, but clients will be enabled to freeze their card through the EBT Edge app. All right, I think I covered. I think I covered all the questions. All right. Well, thank you all for your questions. Paige, I think we can go to the last slide if there is one. All right. So just want to again thank you all for being here with us and supporting us through implementation of Summer EBT and all of your support. So please make sure you get out the flyer. If you didn't receive it, let us know. We will send it to you. Our next meeting, so again, we're meeting monthly. We want to make sure we keep continuous communication with you all. So our next meeting will be Tuesday, April 16th from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Enjoy the rest of your day.